Hey guys, I'm Bully, the Tabletop Apprentice, and today what I would like to do is go over my new hobby. So, about 7 months ago or so, I started getting into painting miniatures and pretty much all things tabletop. So, what I've been doing since then is I've painted a few things, I've learned some things, I've played some games, and today what I'd like to cover is what I've painted so far. So I got the desk set up. We're kind of in my streaming setup because that's kind of what's easiest to record with. So I'm going to go collect up my minis and we'll go over them in order of what I painted. We'll do all the completed ones first, and then I'll talk about some of the ones I didn't finish, and then we'll talk about what I have upcoming. I like to talk about what I like about each thing, what I don't like about each thing, and what I think I could learn, and maybe if there's something I would like to do again in the future. So the first models I painted were Space Marines. I know. But the reason I picked those was because they're Space Marines, and I don't care about Space Marines. Now, I also picked them because they were the only model that I had 3 of the same thing. And the reason I picked that, and I wanted to do all 3 of them at the same time, was so that as I painted them, by the time I got to the 3rd one, I would have learned more and been able to go back to the first one, and they would all come out a little bit better, I would think. And it seemed to work out pretty well. If you take a look at the 3 that I painted, they're all the same dude, and I think they did okay. One, I believe, has gold eyes, and then I did the red-eyed one, and then I used a skeleton bone for the eyes, and that's how I can tell them apart. So this one has gold eyes, and it's the first one that I painted. There's some things that I really like about it. Like, I think the leather came out actually pretty good. There's actually some decent gradients there, like on the sides and on the bottoms of them. That's actually not too bad. And it's pretty clean. It's fairly clean. There's some spots there it's a little messy, but not bad for my first time with a brush. I think the bases all came out really well. I did the bases first, actually. I definitely would like to do these again, do another set of these. In fact, what I was thinking about doing is maybe once a year I would do a small set of Space Marine-like guys, and maybe in these colors, and then we'll be able to go back and see, you know, what I've improved on and those kind of things. Some of the things I would have liked to do is actually, I would like to shade these guys, you know, highlight them. They're all flat colors. I mean, they look good, but they could be better. On one of them, I did try to highlight his shoulder pad. Wow, this guy's shoulder pad is terrible. In fact, it's got something on it. How weird is that? I'm not sure where that came from. But there you go, right? I mean, these are my first models. They look all right. I'm happy with them. I would have liked to shade them. I did do it to one of their shoulder pads. I highlighted, and then it scared me because it was so much brighter than the rest of the model that I painted it back to the solid color and moved on. It was my first model. Highlighting and layering and stuff seems at the time seemed pretty scary. I can do it now, and I'm actually all right with it now, but yeah, I think it came out okay. Model number 4. For my next model, I chose a bust. I was really interested in painting busts, and I think that comes to the fact that I'm more interested in just painting for the sake of art than for any real game. The only real game that I'm really interested in playing is D&D. So I might do some terrain stuff for D&D, but even so, it's more like I don't have a game to play with other people, so building an actual dungeon doesn't seem useful right now. I'm also not super interested in playing Warhammer, but I would really like to get into it. So that's why I decided I think I wanted to paint a bust next. Or at least those were my reasons then. I have a Warhammer army, and I am interested in painting it. And I'm going to be doing it very soon. But this is the bust that I picked. The first, I had a friend who had painted a similar bust to this. I will say I think mine came out better, but that's okay. for my second mini, or my fourth mini, I guess, if you want to count it, I'm gonna count it as number 4, because there's 3 physical minis there. Even though I painted the same thing 3 times, I'm gonna count it as 3 minis. This guy, he doesn't have a base yet because he's not, I don't consider him finished. So while I was painting him, I got to a point where I thought it would be really cool if he had like a torch in front of him, like he was holding a torch and the light was shining on his face. And I really wanted to do OSL for that, but I didn't have an airbrush, and I was super nervous about doing it with a brush. So he's painted to here at this point, and he looks really good. A couple things that are wrong with him is a couple of his toes have broke off. I have one saved back there on the shelf, and and I think I can sculpt another one, or maybe craft it out of sprue or something, and put it back on there. We'll repaint it and put a base on him once he's done, because I want to put like a torch light on his face and like the moonlight on his back, and I think that would look really good. I think his eyes came out really good. He doesn't have a lot of shading in the skin areas down here, but his face has got quite a bit of work put into it. I did quite a bit to get it on there, and it's very clean. I'm super happy with this model. So the next model I painted is another Games Workshop model, an Age of Sigmar model this time. So it's a Stormcast Secator something or other. I don't really know any of the lingo, but this was a model given to me by the owner of a game shop nearby. When I ordered my first models from this game shop near me, I had to order the models, and I told him I was really interested in starting to paint. So he gave me a couple of models, these Space Marines, and 3 Stormcast Eternals. I painted this one, and I actually painted it because I have somebody gave me a model to paint for them as a commission, and I wanted to test it out because I had never painted anything like that. But like, you know, I've only painted a couple models at this point. So I wanted to test out my colors and see what they came out like. And this is the model I chose to test those colors on. And it came out looking pretty good. I still haven't painted that commission, but we're probably gonna do it soon. I promised him I would do it on camera, which is why I haven't painted it yet, because I haven't made my channel yet. So that's what we're doing today. We're getting the channel up because I was forced to. This is model number 5. I'm really happy with this. There's a couple things I'm not happy with. Like if you look down behind the knee there is no paint there because that's messed up. I'm not sure if he's attached to the base or even attached together, if I glued it all together or not. I mean, he was just a test model, so he came out really good, but I'd like to go back in and highlight some stuff, and some things aren't even finished painting, like this gem right here is not even done. Next model number 5, was actually the first model that I purchased. So the first models that I purchased were these 2 Whiz Kids models. They're pretty common. If you actually just look up like villagers, I think these are like the ones that come up first. It's a farmer and a merchant. We'll get to the merchant in a second. Let's talk about the farmer first. So I was actually really inspired after doing a bunch of like wet blending on this guy and doing some pretty decent blends, I thought, that I would go back on here and do it again. And I think it came out okay. I did a bunch of highlighting. I highlighted his stick. I put some texture on the stick. It looks like I missed painting the bottom of his hand right there. That's interesting. I used a wash on this guy. I haven't actually used a wash on the last few of my models. I don't know if that's like a thing that I'm trying to work out of, or I just haven't seen the need for it. One of the things I regret was he has some stitching on his shirt, and I wasn't able to fill that in like I wanted to. His face came out really good for how small it is, to be fair. I'm very happy with this guy's face. But he was the first model I got. The reason I bought them, I wasn't even intended to paint models at the moment. The reason I purchased them was because I needed scale, because I really wanted to do terrain. We can talk about that in another video, but I originally started wanting to do terrain, and I bought a couple of models, this one and the merchant, as a way to have something for scale. So I could hold this up to the door and be like, would this guy fit in the door? That way when I knew when I built my thing that it would be in scale. But then I bought him and I was like, well, he's unpainted. I need to paint him. So I bought some paint and then I didn't paint him. I painted these guys because I wanted this guy to look all right. But we painted him finally, and I think he looks really good. He will look good in a diorama eventually. We'll make a diorama to put him in. Was last model number 6? Last model was number 6. Oh well. This is model number 7. This guy's kind of goofy. I think I speed painted him. I only painted him in about 3 hours. It was like one round of D&D. I painted the whole guy, and I painted his goofy looking eyeballs. His face is not great, right? So like he has some good texturing and stuff in his legs or whatever, but like his shirt is not what I wanted it. He has a bunch of detail on his shirt I just couldn't paint for some reason. I couldn't get the gold to sit in there the way I wanted it to, so I ended up not doing it at all. The green is okay, but it looks strange on the jacket. The cape looks alright. His boots look okay, but they're just messily painted. It's pretty sloppy. Like the eyes are sloppy, the face is sloppy. I'm not super thrilled with this model entirely, but it is a model that is finished and it's done, and if I put it in a diorama, it'll probably be okay. You probably wouldn't notice that much. My next model is a model that I received free with a different model. My wife purchased me a giant bus, and with it, I received this model as like a gift, I guess. So I decided to paint it up real quick on a stream, and I spent a bunch of time on the purple, I think, on stream, and then I did all the scales off stream. Maybe I did it on stream, I can't remember. But I used a bunch of colors in the scales, and this guy came out really good. And in fact, there's a diorama being made for this dude. It's not really a diorama, it's like just like a display base, I guess. I 3D printed some coral for the model, and I haven't painted it yet, but I'd like to paint it. I'm really happy with the staff. I think the staff came out good, and the scales came out good. In fact, there are a few scales on here that are painted on. Here, we'll use this brush right here. So there's a scale. It's hard to even see which one it is. This one right here. This scale is not a scale. It's actually flat. There's no texture there between this scale and the next scale. It's just too big. And when I painted it, it was too big, so I painted a mini scale in there. I painted this live on stream. Somebody was watching me do it. Kamiko was watching me do it. There's another scale right here. And another one right here that it doesn't exist. Oh, and one here that doesn't actually exist there. But because they were just big flat spots, they were either dark and looked funny or didn't work correctly. So I had to fix them by painting in fake scales so that it looked like it was supposed to be there. I thought that was a cool exercise, and that was like a lot of fun. Something I wasn't expecting to have to do on this model, actually. So the next model that I actually finished, I'm super proud of. It's the only one that I've actually finished 100% to what I feel is like the limit of what I can accomplish at the moment. It seems to be everybody's favorite model that I've done so far as well. When I show people the group of models that I've done, this is the one that they like the most. And it is my donkey. So this is a pack mule from Artisan Guild. It's part of their welcoming thing. The base, I think, is just the plain base that I printed and did something with from somewhere else. But what I did was I painted this guy up on stream, and I'm super happy with like how it came out. It looks fantastic. So every piece of this model is something that I'm happy with. I put so much work into every little bit. Everything from the bedroll on the back and this tarp that I put a bunch of effort into making sure everything looked like as good as I could do. And this sword has a bunch of stuff on it. There's mud on each of there's mud on each of the pouches and anything that hung low. So like the bottom of this sword has some mud on it, and these bottles are in the arrangement of the skills in Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls. So like, I mean, it's just like a little Easter egg in there, and I put some little flowers in, and I made some grassy type stuff and used some natural moss and put this like actual stony, gravelly base on there and some grass tufts. I'm just so in love with this model. It's definitely my favorite. Everything about it is good. There's even a little freehand polka spot on there. I'm happy with it. There we go. All right, next model. So the next model I painted and completed was this woman, lady, girl. Her name is something, Fula. It's on the base, Fula. So I'm really happy with this model as it came out. It's a commission piece for Snow Crash, and who is a friend, and I guess he's a DM and has some minis that he wanted to make. He has this one, and the next model as well is also his. So I want to get them on camera before I had to mail them away. Do the best I can. I think I got some good 360 video. I'm happy with pretty much all of this. Her face looks very good. I didn't shade it too much, which is what I was worried about. You can shade a female face too much, but I think she has some good highlights and everything. Oh, I also used varnish for the first time on this model. So I used a matte varnish on this, and I think it came out all right. I used Tester's Dull Coat. That's what I tested on this for the first time. And the reason I wanted to put it on this model in particular is because it's going to somebody else. And it's going to be used in a game, so I wanted to have them not lose their paint if I could. So a couple of coats of Dull Coat to try to help with that. Same with this model, which is, I believe the name of this is Tack. I put a penny in the bottom of it because he has enough trouble standing up as it is. But what was hard about this was painting all that white. So I used some contrast paint to paint this, to get the gray shadows into those feathers, and then I went through and highlighted everything with a little dry brushing of white, and then I went through and touched it again with a little bit more like actual highlights, and I painted all the little bits. And yeah, this is another commission piece for Snow Crash. I think it came out fairly good. I'm pretty happy with the face in particular in this one. Looks really good. Oh, also the fire came out quite. I'm quite happy with the fire. I think it looks fairly decent. So the next model that I did is another commission piece. So this is Millberg from my Wednesday night D&D games. You can find Nil on Twitch as well, but if you aren't following that, you can go ahead and jump on over to Twitch to follow me on Twitch to keep up on our D&D game. If you want to check them all out, you can also go to Big Edley's channel. So Big Edley is another friend, another member of the campaign, and he has all of our past VODs on his channel. So you can go ahead and check that out there. But be sure to check into us on Twitch on Wednesday nights and hit that follow button just so you're notified. Keep up those notifications. But this is Nil. He's a halfling. I actually painted him fairly quick, a lot faster than I thought I was going to. I got his body all taken care of, I think, in one night, and then I spent another day to highlight him, and I had already done the base, so I think it came out looking fairly decent. I was really worried about this because this is like a Dark Angels green from Army Painter, and that is glossy. So once I hit that with the matte varnish, it fixed it up quite a bit. So for Nil's commission, I actually have one more model I have to paint and send him, and then paint before I can actually send out his model and his commissions. So that's pretty much everything that I've completed so far. There are actually two more models that I've actually finished. These two here. I finished them fairly recently in stream, and there's two more that go with this and that go to the diorama that I want to put together. I'm working on them on stream. Here's the third one I've got started. I got the flesh tones pretty well taken care of, I think. And I started working on some of the other bits. I'm gonna try to work on this later today, which is Friday. It's a couple days ago for you guys. So if you caught the stream, hit that like button down below. If you didn't, then well, still hit the like button down below. You got stuff to do. So the models that I haven't finished. This was the first model that I gave up on halfway through. And it's another one of these models. It's a 3D printed model that I got in the mail with another model, and it's okay. I'm not super thrilled with the model itself. I only really started painting it because I didn't have anything else really ready to go that I was happy with, that I wanted to actually work on. I actually knew what I wanted to do. And I actually got started in this without knowing what I wanted to do, and I just painted him green as like a starting point to hopefully kick off the rest of my thought process. And then I painted his face this weird palish yellow color. I was gonna try to bring it up to a white. I don't know. Either way, I got into this and I was not happy with both the model or the paint or anything that I had chosen. So I basically just stopped and picked up a different project. And this is the last model that I've started. Well, I guess it's not the last. We'll get to the last one. This is I'm actually interested in redoing this model. It's actually a troll, and these like bone things are not really sticking out except for these ones here, which are like more of like decorative. These like his collarbones there, and the ones in his arm and stuff. Those aren't actually supposed to be bones. I think they're supposed to be just taut skin. And about 5 seconds before starting the stream, I saw him. I was like, well, what if I painted him as an orange demon instead? I painted him bright orange and worked him into this, so like he's kind of made of lava, and the tops of his skin and stuff look pretty like they're cooling down a little bit. He needs a ton more work, and he's just scary to work on because this is like a really hard, difficult project to come out looking the way I want it to anyway. It looks pretty good. It looks fairly decent, but oh boy, is it rough. Is it rough to work on. He also has a few more friends. A drummer one here, which you can probably barely see because he's black and shiny. Cello guy, which you can't see because he's black and not shiny. I'm gonna work on these guys I think soon. This one's been primed, this one has not. So I'll probably go ahead and work on these guys fairly soon. I did sort of airbrush up these guys. It was more of like a test on how to airbrush. These are prints from Artisan Guild. They came out okay. I'm not super thrilled with the paint, but that's just because I was using them in airbrush and I don't know what I was doing. I need tons of practice with this airbrush, trying to get the paint thickness, the right consistency. Here's another model I tried to paint. This one is a little bit cleaner, but still it's not quite as vibrant as it should be. You can definitely see lots of black through it. There was puddling and stuff that I had to like try to fix with a brush. It was not fun. I'm gonna try it again and give it another coat or two. And maybe that will that'll fix some of the problem. Be happy with it. I'm pretty happy with what I've gotten done so far. I've still got a few more models to paint for that one diorama. I've got another half dozen dioramas that I'd like to do, including some very large ones. I've got my Auric Iron Jaws start collecting models. I've got them set aside. They're not primed yet. We're gonna do a priming on them probably fairly soon. And I've got the Labyrinth board game and some expansion packs for that to work on. I've got a couple of really big busts to do. I'd like to do another really good bust, like more regular size. I bought the Duchess from Miniac, so I have that model to do. That's pretty cool. I've got some things coming in the mail that when they get here, they're gonna be amazing things to do for great videos. They're gonna make some amazing content. I'm really looking forward to sharing my experiences and my hobby with you guys. So I started a hobby streak. You can follow me on Twitter to follow my hobby streak, and that'll like tell you what I do day in, day out, at least when it comes to the hobby. And I'm on day 12 or day 13 at this point. And I'll see you guys in the next video. So hit that like button if you enjoyed this one, and subscribe if you haven't already. Go down in the comments and let me know what you think I should be working on, or maybe something you'd like to see me do. Would you like to see me build the bases for some of this stuff? Because I think that's something I would really like to get into, is making some good pieces of terrain. I have some ideas of some things I'd like to do and whatnot. But I got lots of video ideas. I'll see you guys in the next